Welcome to Startup Hype. This is your host, Nick Rabaudo. Today we're going to meet with Samantha Tradelius, an accomplished businesswoman, entrepreneur, author, philanthropist, and mother of two who has driven her startups to success while inspiring and motivating thousands in the process. Samantha has spent 20 plus years focused on risk management in the commercial insurance industry with an ever-growing passion to appreciate, celebrate, and support women driving their goals to success and making their dreams a reality. With this passion in mind, Samantha started the Sparkle Foundation, a nonprofit organization with a mission to make sure that all women and children have a sparkle in their eye. On top of this, she has driven many other initiatives to success with this mission in mind. I'm very excited to hear more about them today and learn about Samantha's story. Let's go meet Samantha, learn about her business initiatives and her many superpowers.
Stay inspired.
Stay motivated.
Stay hyped.
This is Startup Hype. Well, Samantha, thank you so much for joining us here today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the set.
I'm so excited.
You're so excited. Well, let's jump right in. I want to get to know you.
Yes.
So I want to learn about your superpowers. I've heard that energy is one of your superpowers, but it's clear to me that there are many more. Can you unpack these for us and tell us a little bit about what makes you, you?
Yes, a lot of energy comes out of me. And I really do think it's because of all the coffee I drink.
Coffee's great.
Coffee is good. No, I mean, I really do just live life to the fullest all the time. I try to have purpose in my life on a daily basis. And knowing that I'm impacting and helping women throughout my journey every single day is really, I think, what gives me that energy to be able to get out there and make a difference in anything I'm doing, you know? But I do drink a lot of coffee, and I swear a lot, right?
What's a lot? What's a lot? There's got to be more behind the energy than just coffee. I can see it in your personality.
I mean, I'm an energetic person by nature, and I'm just kind of a take the world by storm and just go. Take the reins and go. I'm the type of person that loves to say yes to things that maybe I shouldn't say yes to. So I do take on a lot of different things, but I find that I really, am activated by having a lot on my plate and just being able to accomplish a lot of things at once. Makes me feel, it makes me feel good, and I just like to, I like to make a difference out there.
I love that. Nothing can stop you. A force to be reckoned with.
There are probably a few things that can stop me, but no, for the most part, it's like I wake up and I'm ready to take on the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to emphasize the word sparkle for a moment. Sparkle, the way that this word illustrates and depicts itself resonates really strongly with me. It's the foundation of your branding. It is the driving force behind your mission. Tell us what sparkle means to you.
It means a lot of different things to me. It's when you hand off gifts to a single mom and she's got a look in her eye. It's the way that you feel when you are able to impact your community in various different ways. Or when somebody comes up to you in the grocery store and says, hey, you have no idea what you've done for my family. I mean, those are the things to me that sparkle means. And that is obviously the name of my nonprofit, the Sparkle Foundation, which I founded, it'll be 6 years in January. Which is insane. I'm coming up on my 18th year of gifting single moms Christmas gifts. So I did it a long time before I formed a nonprofit, and then decided it was time to, kind of up the ante and be a little bit more legit than just a group of women wrapping gifts and doing things. So in 2015, I had the idea. 2016, I actually went to work and got the foundation 501c3 created. And since then, we have raised $1 million.
Wow. Okay.
And 100% of that has gone back out into the community over the last 6 years. So that's really something I'm proud of.
That's amazing.
We help single moms. We help their kids. We do 3 things. We do them really well. We have our holiday gift drive, which we're doing right now in the month of December. And that is where we source single moms that need help. We find out who they are, what they need. We go out, we collect money, we go buy the gifts, we wrap, sort, and deliver them. So it's a whole experience. Then we do enrichment scholarships where we help, single moms be able to pay for extracurriculars for their kids. So you imagine you've got a single mom working 2 jobs, trying to pay the bills, get food on the table, and now Susie wants to play softball and there's no money. So that's where we come in to help. So we, last year, I believe, sent, on a normal non-COVID year when kids are normally playing sports, we'll send 75 to 80 kids through different, camps, ball, basketball, softball, all that stuff. And then the other thing we do is our Sparkle Biz, which is our next level microloans that we just rolled out the program to, where we help fund single moms that want to start or grow their businesses. So we funded our first one this year, and it was pretty awesome to be able to have a dream come to life. So every bit of Sparkle is helping women in different capacities, and our focus is single moms.
I love that. And I love how the word Sparkle translates across the different initiatives that you have going on. Like, they're all based on this same mission, this same vision, but different facets of it to make it come to life.
Yes.
And you're just finding new ways to add value in different avenues. That's amazing.
It's one of my tenets in life. It's just like women helping women. How do we make the world better for women?
Absolutely. So you touched on the nonprofit side of things, and I'm really curious because I personally don't understand how you go about creating a nonprofit. Can you give us a few high-level steps that you had to take for those listening that may be interested in doing the same?
Yeah, well, first you got to figure out what you want to do.
Right.
Right? And then you got to figure out, is there somebody else who's already doing it? So maybe there's a way that you could kind of help and get involved with that. Well, if that doesn't work, in my case, there wasn't anything specific to like what we were doing. And for me, I was really disenchanted with the way a lot of nonprofits would spend money because a lot of them aren't transparent about how they spend their money. And that's really why I started doing what I was doing when I was 23 years old, 18 years ago. Dating myself now.
Oops.
But yeah, I mean, so if you want to like get involved, it's pretty much find out if there's anything else like that out there. Then you need to, do the research, find out is the name taken, fill out all the paperwork for the IRS, which is a whole like job within itself.
Sure.
And then once you do that, you got to form a board, you got to get your bylaws together, and then you got to figure out like how you're going to get money.
Yeah.
How you're going to fund this mission.
You gotta start somewhere.
What are you going to do? And it's a great thing to have this idea, and as long as you're doing something to give back to the world, I mean, yes, please check the box. But there are, quite a few steps into, making it all come to life. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it is definitely something that I think once you get it done, super rewarding to be able to go out and make a difference.
Well, nothing that impactf or rewarding comes that easily, right?
Well,
So
if it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
That's a great word.
That's what they say. So yes, there are several administrative tasks you need to do for sure.
So since you've started the nonprofit and all of these other facets, like how have you gone about growing your personal brand? So Sparkle, Samantha Tradelius, personal brand, and your business initiatives. Like, what are some of the things you could share with us?
I'm just constantly on it.
Okay, I love that.
If you know me, I'm always talking about what I'm doing, right? I'm
Yeah.
moving around. And what's really interesting is for the longest time, I always really tried to separate my boxes of what I was doing. So part of me is risk management. I've spent 23 plus years in insurance. It's my career. That's what I've done forever. And then I was like, okay, well, that's over here. And then I've got my Sparkle box over here. And then now I'm going to start this new thing, SamanthaTradelius.com. And for the longest time, I was like, okay, they all got to be separate. Well, I had lunch with a girlfriend a couple weeks ago. She goes, well, why are you doing that? And I go, I don't know. And she goes, it's all you. It's all who you are. And everything that you're doing it's all doing the same thing. It's just different ways of saying the same thing about supporting women in different capacities. So with that, I really kind of took that to heart and thought, okay, instead of separating them all, now I'm going to just blend them together. So like on my LinkedIn, I only used to post like insurance stuff. Now I'm like, you're going to hear about Sparkle. Everything. You're going to hear about my book. You're going to hear about all these people are like, who is this woman? She's crazy. But I mean, the underlying foundation is like, my purpose is to serve and help women in any way I possibly can. So get online, get on social, talk about it with your friends. Just everything you do, I think, needs to be what it is you're doing. And I think that really helps tell your story. And that's what is going to get people to gravitate towards your cause or gravitate towards, buying your book or, getting involved with your website or whatever it is you're doing.
Absolutely. No, and it puts the person behind the brand. I mean, the brand is you. I mean, you are Sparkle. Samantha is Sparkle. I love the S. I love the branding, everything. And you're tying it all together to make a difference and make it meaningful. And that's what's truly important. You transitioned to the word impact. You mentioned a book. I recently heard that you have authored a book.
Yes.
And this book is all about celebrating and appreciating women doing incredible things and sharing stories about other women making the types of impacts that you're making yourself. What inspired this new venture of authorship and what, made you want to share these messages?
Well, I always wanted to write a book. I thought it would be kind of cool. And originally when I started, I was going to write a book about how to form a nonprofit, right? Because I get asked all the time, like, what do you do? What are the steps? So I started writing it and I was like, this is so boring. This is not what I want my moment to be right now. So, then COVID hits. We're all home for year and a half, 18 months. And I really got to thinking about what I wanted this book to be. So I started writing. And I started it off as a kind of moment to the Women's Month March, celebrating women. Every day I would do a post about a woman who's important in my life. And I had all these things and I'd written them all down, and what that turned into was a book. And it was women, everyone from my mother to my grandmother to the women I sparkle with to, you know, my mentors, you know, just women that are so important. And the bottom line is that unless you're rich and famous or have gone through some huge trauma, a lot of times our stories don't get told. And there are everyday women that are literally out there doing amazing work in their communities that no one's talking about. And that's what the book's talking about, you know? And that's what I wanted it to be, was to celebrate them, because every bit of who I am is because of these women in my life. And you had mentioned, you know, S is sparkle and, you know, all that stuff, but I am only able to do what I do because of the women that are involved, and because of the women that are around me. And that's really what Impact is all about.
I love that. It's a platform. It
Yes.
really is a platform to get those messages out there and let other people know that the same things that you might be dealing with, other people are dealing with. They've triumphed, they've overcame, they've made success out of something that they wanted to accomplish. And I love that it's not just about supporting women, but it's also about recognizing and celebrating, right? The
Yes.
incredible things that come out of some of these women.
Because they're amazing. I mean, my grandmother, she was my inspiration for Sparkle, and she was a single mom in the 1950s with 3 kids, which was completely unheard of and completely unacceptable. And, you know, she did it. And she was this amazing woman that, you know, nobody was ever talking about, but like what she did and what she was able to raise and make happen. I mean, my God, it's amazing. And so I think the stories need to be told.
Absolutely.
And out loud.
And I'm glad that you're starting. I hope it continues.
Well, I
hope it
wrote like
expands.
50 of them, so there's so many of them. So I'm hoping, like, if this, you know, is something that, I mean, it took a long time to get it all. It wasn't just like, whoo, a book happened.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's involved. So I was, you know, if it worked out, there could be a volume moment, but I'm not committing to that right now.
I'm hinting at round 2.
I just got through this one, so let's see how it goes first.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, on top of everything that you're doing, I mean, we've already touched on the variety of ways that you're making an impact in women's lives. And I've heard that you also have a podcast called InspiHER'd. And I absolutely love that. The question I have for you is, with everything going on in your life, how do you keep driving at 110%? Like, what keeps you going every day?
Making a difference, you know, being able to tell the stories or impact a life. I think that's what keeps me going, because there are days where I'm just like, oh, I can't do anymore. Or I'm like, okay, guys, we got to do another podcast. Like, we got to get on, we got to do it. And you just kind of keep going and you keep doing it, because like this last week we had interviewed a girlfriend of mine who had gone through a very horrific family trauma of death. And then, you know, her father had also passed, and she has taken grief and made this online persona of her storyline of my grief and me. And through this journey, she's been able to connect with so many other people. I mean, unfortunately, we're all going to have to deal with grief in our life, and it's an emotion that nobody wants to talk about and nobody wants to deal with, and everyone's like, oh, you know, well, it's just, you know, you're going through your time, but like, people need other people to know that they're not alone. So like, I had her on the podcast, and it was this amazing 30-minute conversation that I was like, when I was done with it, I was like, oh my God, like, this is why we do this, because somebody out there needs to hear this. And somebody out there did hear it. And we've heard so much, you know, great feedback off of all these episodes of just, you know, amazing women that are, again, out there doing big time stuff. We've interviewed, you know, women referees. We've interviewed women who are artists and, you know, artisans and makers and creators, and just all these amazing women who, you know, have had their own battles or have stumbled and fallen and gotten up and made something of themselves. And those stories are awesome, and they're inspiring.
And they deserve to be told.
And they deserve to be told. And the idea was like, so originally when we started it, we're like, okay, let's have a podcast, like, you know, everyone else, but it was our COVID baby, and nobody knew how to edit. So we were sitting there and we're like, well, okay, does somebody want to learn how to edit? And all of us girls have jobs, and we're like, no, we don't. And so what our whole thing in the beginning was like, we don't know how to edit. Like, it's just, it is what it is. One of our guests brought up, she goes, well, life isn't edited, so why would you edit it? And I thought, that makes sense.
Let it roll.
So, you know, 50 plus episodes later, it's unedited. I mean, it's gotten much better for sure, but it's just a great storyline of like just women doing cool stuff.
Yeah. And leveraging your skills and your advantages, but like, you know, letting the things that you can't control just be. I love that.
Well, it wasn't, I think the stories get told, you know, whether I have it crisper or whether it's just on there. So
I love that.
yeah.
So failure. I want to transition to failure. You've touched on these little micro aspects of it. It's a daunting word to many, but it to some is really an inspiration for success. I'm curious, failure can be incredibly difficult, but also valuable. Can you tell us about a time where you truly felt defeated, where you felt like you had failed, and what you did to overcome that?
All the time, right?
All the time. I love that
I
answer.
firmly believe that when we fail, it's like those tiger stripes that we earn that get us through to the next level. And it's always a good question, like I ask people when I interview them, is like, tell me a time you failed. Because if you can't talk about failure, like you're not a human being that like is on the path of success, in my opinion. Because you have to fail, right? You have to fail because it makes you get better. So I have lost so many business insurance deals, because I didn't know what I was doing or I wasn't, savvy enough in my lingo. When it comes to nonprofit stuff, I mean, there have been years where I could do it all, right? I got this. And then I'm sitting in a room of all these gifts and all this stuff. And I'm like, holy moly, like I don't have this. Like I'm going to fail if I don't figure out a way to get this, and being very overwhelmed and just like which way to turn. I mean, those are some really big, like headline failure moments. But just, I always say like I fall down all the time and I just dust my knees off and I just keep going. And you just got to keep going because failing is part of the journey. I mean, I could tell you so many times like this year, with COVID and everything, like my family came down with COVID and it was like we did everything right. We were like these, we were vaxxed, we were this, we were that. And all of a sudden now the sickness is in my house and I'm thinking to myself, I can't get sick. I've got 175 lives that are waiting on me to produce Christmas and a board and 300 volunteers. And like, if I get sick, how is this going to work? And for me, I was having this overwhelming feeling of failure because I was like, I've let myself be vulnerable and like, how did this happen? And every day how did I get through it? How did I overcome the failure? I drank some like witch potion, all these herbs. I'm drinking all this stuff, praying every morning when I wake up, please don't get sick. And I just literally, the passion of what I had to do, I think really got me through it. Knock on wood, like everybody was cool, everybody got through it. But I mean, failing and being overwhelmed and feeling out of your comfort zone is part of any journey in any business, and you got to go through it.
You have to, and fail forward, right?
Fail forward, fall into the wall, go through the wall, just fall off the cliff. You just know that you're always going to be able to do it as long as you've got the courage and the passion to do it, and just keep fighting. Keep fighting.
Well, I'm so excited to follow what your next weeks, months, and years to come because I see that passion. That passion drives results. That passion comes through failure and sees success. I'm very curious in your view, like what's next for you? Like what am I looking forward to follow? What comes next for Samantha Tradelius?
It's tough. I haven't even really thought that far ahead, but I will say this last year we opened up another Sparkle. So now we have 4 chapters. We're in the Bay Area, Sacramento, LA, and now the Inland Empire.
I love that.
My dream in life is to have Sparkles all over the country because I know that there are single women, single moms in every major city. And so one of my real pursuits, I think, in the next year is going to be a lot of growth with the organization. It's built like we've built the wheel, and you just got to have the right team, boots on the ground to be able to make it function. So that's something I'm really going to put a lot of focus on this year and, just continue to just serve and help people. I mean, this year I set this crazy goal. I was like, I want to serve 5,000 lives. Because for me as a, ED, it's not about how much money I raise. And that's a lot of organizations, like how much money we bring in. My goal is about how many lives did I serve? Yeah. So last year we did 2,800 lives. This year we have served 5,000 lives in 2021.
You met your goal.
I was like, I can't believe we did this. This is crazy. And so maybe next year I up the ante and do like 7,500.
Moral of the message.
My board, when they hear this, they're just going to be like they're going to turn around and walk away.
Yeah, well, if anyone can do it, you could do it. And I mean, what I just took away from that is aim high. Because if you aim low, you'll hit low. If you aim high, you have a chance at making it, right?
Well, you have to set goals, I think, for yourself that are, not too crazy, but like something that's attainable.
Stretch goal.
Yeah, and I think with the lives served, it was like, with COVID, we were really trying to find different ways to serve our community. So it wasn't necessarily kids weren't playing sports like they were, but all these nurses and teachers and business owners were working and not getting any support. So what Sparkle did is we started doing these gratitude boxes. And we would work with these local stores and get product and made these boxes and would show up at UCSF and show up at Marin General with boxes for the nurses in the ER and the COVID wings. And we're just like, thank you for showing up for work today. Or the teachers that were teaching these kids during, all this distant learning stuff. I mean, we showed up at all the schools in, many schools in Marin County with these boxes. And to see that happen and to be able to have those impacts and do different things because the community believes in you and our donors believe in us and our board believes in us, it's pretty cool. So the sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit.
The sparkle can continue on in any different way. It's just about, our purpose and mission is serving women.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing that I want to end this interview with is asking you what you want people to walk away remembering, right? If we were to forget everything we just talked about, what do you want to leave us with?
I am no different than any other woman out there. And, being able to find your dreams and focus on your dreams and go out and do them is something that we all can do. And it's okay to get uncomfortable, right? It's okay to sit there and go, I don't know which way to go or which way to turn or which way to start something. But, take one foot and take another one and just keep going. And the end result will be more than you could possibly ever imagine if you just believe in yourself. And do dream big, right?
Dream big.
And know that women can do anything. And if you don't know the answers, go find somebody who does. Right? I am only the person I am because of the women around me and surrounding myself with people that are way smarter than me, right? They keep me going and keep me grounded. And I think that is like such a great tool too. If you don't know, go ask. There's definitely a woman out there that will help you.
I absolutely love
right?
that.
And maybe a man too. I'm sure they're out there, but I tend to gravitate more towards women.
That's amazing. Well, I could tell you I'm walking away feeling inspired. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, learning about your story. I hope that everyone listening is also feeling inspired and walking away with this important takeaway message. For all of those watching, thank you for tuning in. We're really excited to keep moving this forward, so don't forget to smash that like button, comment down below, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already to see more of these interviews, but most importantly, stay inspired, stay motivated, stay hyped. This is Startup Hype. We'll see you next time.
How'd I do?
Awesome.
Do we do good? All right.
Great job.
Did I bring it?
You brought it.
Okay. Fabulous. Good.